Hello and welcome to Mountain Climbers. I'm your host, Whitney, and a fellow mountain climber. So, I've heard the saying, and I'm sure most of you have too, that behind every successful man is a strong woman. And I've heard pastors take that saying and apply it to them and their wives. But I'd like to offer another variation of that saying, if you will. Behind every great pastor is a pastor's wife with her own story to tell. And that is so true with Pastor Cal's wife, Kandi Evans. So I know people know bits and pieces of her story, but I don't know how many people know her whole story. And since I've gone to Rubyville my whole life, I've heard her story over the years, and it is miraculous. And I am so excited for you to hear it. And I know it's going to challenge you to keep climbing and never quit fighting those battles. And more than likely, after you're done listening to it, you're going to go take back what the devil stole from you. Hey, Kandi, welcome to Mountain Climbers.
Thank you so much. What an honor for you to ask me to do this. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. The honor is all mine. And I'm really looking forward to everyone hearing your story. I know they know bits and pieces of it, but I don't know how many people know it as a whole. And I'm very excited for them to hear it because they're going to see that no matter the battle or the mountain that you face, you keep climbing, you don't quit, and just give the devil a black eye in the process. And so the first thing that I kind of want to ask you, just to kind of set the foundation, is, where you're from, share a little bit about your parents and how you were raised.
Okay. I was actually born in Dayton, Ohio,
Okay.
but we moved from there when I was just a baby.
Okay.
And we had, I have an older brother. He's 2 years older than me.
Okay.
And so when I was born, my parents were like, okay, dad needs a better job. So they found out that Ford Motor Company was hiring in Sandusky, Ohio. They were doing a big hire.
Okay.
And so dad applied and got the job. We moved from Dayton to Sandusky so my dad could have work.
Okay.
And so that's where I grew up. I consider myself a Sanduskyan, a Lake Erie girl.
Yeah. I'm directionally challenged. So is that north?
That's as far north as you can get.
Okay. All right.
Yep, that's as far north as it goes. And so I remember things that stand out to me as far as my childhood goes after we moved to Sandusky is my parents were not saved.
Oh.
They were not Christians.
Okay.
And so there was a lot of challenges there. A lot of fighting,
Yeah.
a lot of arguing, and some bad things, that happen there in the family.
Yeah.
And but that's not how the story ends. So it's all good.
That's great. Well, that kind of surprised me because I thought you were raised in church and your dad was a pastor.
Not until I was older.
Older. Okay, we're going to get into like when you were older.
Yeah.
And so when you were born with a cleft palate. So how did that affect your life? Could you communicate? Did people understand you?
No. Well, let me back up. When I was 14 months old, I had my first plastic surgery.
Okay.
And that was in Dayton, Ohio, that it was done at Children's Hospital in Dayton, Ohio. And it was successful.
Oh,
so everything was great.
Yeah.
Until I was 5. Now, at this point, we had moved to Sandusky.
Uh-huh.
So at 5, I had to have a tonsillectomy, and they also removed my adenoids. So the surgery that I had then messed up everything that had been done at 14 months.
So you regrew your cleft palate? or what?
No. Okay. So at 5, I had this, this
Yeah.
tonsillectomy and all, messed up the surgery. So from 5 until 11, so 5 years old to 11 years
Yeah.
old, no one could understand me.
Oh,
No one.
wow.
I mean, pretty much my mom. She was the one that could understand me the
Okay.
best, we'll
Okay.
say.
Okay. So, just so I understand it, if you had not had your cleft palate and then had that surgery, it wouldn't have had the repercussions that it did, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, I gotcha. So then obviously you had to have surgery to recorrect what needed, corrected. And so
Yeah.
what decisions went into that? Because you said from 5 to 11, no one could understand you. Why did you wait so long?
Okay. So because we lived in Sandusky at
Uh-huh.
this time, no doctor there. My parents checked with different people and can't help you. There's nothing we can do, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So, getting into the real story here,
Yeah.
when I was 9, we got a surprise.
Okay.
And the surprise was a little baby brother.
Oh.
So, yeah, so my little brother was born when I was 9, and his name is Kurt. And when I was 11, we went to Dayton every year for Christmas because that's where all the family was.
Okay.
And so we would go there and stay with grandparents and get together with the aunts and uncles and cousins and everything. And so when I was 11 and Kurt was 2,
Okay.
we were in Dayton for Christmas.
Okay.
And Kurt became very ill. He got really sick, real high fever.
Okay.
And my mom said, I have to take him to the emergency room. I mean, he's just so sick and he's just so tiny. Well, because I couldn't, no one could understand me.
Yeah.
I was always with my mom. I always went with her everywhere she went, because she understood me better than anybody. So I went with her and we went to the emergency room. And I'm telling my age. I know this now. But over the loudspeaker, they paged the doctor who had done my surgery at 14 months old.
Oh my, what a good thing. Wow.
Yeah. They said his name over the loudspeaker, paged him, and my mom immediately went up to the nurse station and she said, I have to see that doctor.
Oh my goodness.
And they said, no, crazy lady, you're here. You are here to see the emergency room doctor, not a surgeon. And you know how moms can be.
Oh, yes.
So she threw a big fit. And I think to shut her up, to keep her quiet, they agreed to try to get him to meet with us.
Okay.
And he did. And he met us, and I'll never forget it. He met us in like it was almost like a little coat closet type thing. It was like a broom closet or something. And he asked me to say, I like chocolate ice cream. So I said that for him. And he seemed stunned when I spoke, and because it was so bad.
Yeah.
And he told my mom, he said, I don't do these surgeries anymore, but
no.
I know someone that does. Yeah. So, yeah. And he said, I would like to set up a meeting while you guys are in town. You're in Dayton, Ohio, and I know you're going to be going back to Sandusky, but while you're in town, to set up a meeting with him.
Yeah.
So we met with him, and he said he would be willing to do the surgery. No guarantees. Yeah. 50-50 chance that it would work. So in the meantime, so my birthday's in January.
Okay.
So this was in December. I was 11. And then in January, I turned 12.
Yeah.
And so he suggested that I have the surgery that summer because I would be out of school for the summer, and I would have the summer to heal.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. We
Yeah.
went back in the summer and I had surgery.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't let me speak for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
He said, no talking, not even one word.
Crazy.
So I didn't. I
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah.
And I can remember before the surgery, laying in the hospital bed, I was terrified.
Oh, I can't imagine.
You know,
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
had jaw reconstructive surgery years ago, and that's a beast of a surgery. So I can't imagine how intense this surgery was. And
right.
you're probably excited and terrified at what the outcome would be. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. It was exciting because possibly my speech would be better.
Yeah.
Maybe not good, but it would be better.
Yeah.
And so terrified at the same time. You know, I mean, I'm 12 years old and I'm going to be having surgery. You're putting me to sleep. I'm so scared. You know.
Yeah.
And I can remember at that point, I knew the Lord.
Yeah.
And at that stage of my life, I knew him. And I can remember praying and telling the Lord, if you give me a voice that people can understand what I'm saying, I promise I'll use it for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I did. I had the surgery.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, 3 days went by and I couldn't say a word.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, when they said visiting hours, they meant visiting hours.
Strict, yes.
I mean, you know, I don't care if you're the mom, the dad, whoever you are, you're not going in. Mm-hmm. You know, visiting hours were strict.
Yeah.
And so the doctor came in to see me, and it wasn't visiting hours. So I was alone.
Did that surprise you that he came in when you were alone with your age?
In a way, looking back on it, yes. At the time, no. I didn't think too much about it.
Uh-huh.
But now looking back on it, I'm like, what was he thinking? Why would you come in and talk to a 12-year-old girl? I mean, he had his nurse with him too, you know, that took notes and things like that. But at the same time, I might not remember what he said. I don't, you know.
Yeah, and if surgery wasn't the outcome that you wanted, that would have been detrimental.
Exactly. And so he asked me to speak. I don't remember what he asked me to say, but he asked me to speak. And I did. Mm-hmm. And he did like this, you know, like he was very pleased. And I couldn't really tell. I mean, to me, it just sounded okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he said at the end of the examination, you know, that he gave me there, he said, you can talk today, just a few words, and don't be loud. Just talk softly and just say a few words. And I said, okay. And so there was nobody to talk to.
What a letdown. Very anticlimactic.
Yes, exactly. And so here again, I'm telling my age. I had made friends with a young nurse, and she was so sweet to me. And so I borrowed a dime from her, and I went to the end of the hall, and they had a payphone.
Yeah.
So I put my dime in, and I remember my grandparents' number. That's where my parents were staying.
Yeah.
And so I knew my grandma's number, and so I called the number, and my grandma answered.
Yeah.
And I didn't want her to be the first person that I talked to.
I get that.
Yeah. So I said, is Phyllis there? Phyllis is my mom.
Yeah.
And she said, just a minute. And so my mom got on the phone and said hello. And I said, hey, Mom. And she said, honey, who do you want to talk to? And I said, well, I wanted to talk to you, Mom. And she said, I think you have the wrong number. Is there somebody that I can help you find?
Oh, my.
And I said, Mom, it's me. And she said, me who? And I said, Mom, it's me, it's Kandi. And next thing, dropped the phone, and I heard her just bawling and praising the Lord, you know, because, I mean, it really was.
a
It's a miracle.
yeah, a
Yeah.
huge miracle. And what's so great is at the time you said you knew the Lord, and so did your parents. So going
Yes.
into that, that had to give you, I mean, you were scared, of course, that's normal,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you had peace in the midst of, being scared. And
Yeah.
so that makes all the difference. And one thing I've heard you say over the years, that not only did God give you your speaking voice back,
Yeah.
but he gave you a singing voice as well. So,
Yeah.
how long after your surgery did you realize, oh my goodness, I can sing?
Um, I mean, I'm a kid, and so, at this point, we are in church, and I'm in the youth group, with all my little friends, and so us little girls would get up and sing in Sunday school and Bible school and things like that.
Mm.
But I've never claimed to be like a singer. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I mean, really, but I that's kind of what started it. Like singing with my little friends in Bible school and in Sunday school, and then it just kind of developed from there.
Yeah,
And then when I got older, like 14, 15,
yeah,
I'm not a piano player per se either, but I do peck around on it a little. And so I would play at the house
mhm,
and sing. And then my parents were like, you should sing at church. Just like you should just sing.
yeah,
I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm so nervous.
yeah,
Yeah. And but I it just kind of developed like that, that I would sing occasionally, just a song here or there.
yeah.
And but I love to sing.
Oh yeah.
And obviously I love to talk.
Yes, yes. That those two things, that's evident. Gotta kid you a little bit there. But, what a gift that God gave you. Not only your
Yeah.
speaking voice and your singing voice, and it was like He was saying, "I see you." It was like a little God wink. I see what you went through, and I'm,
Yeah.
blessing you and giving you this gift. But I don't think it was just for that time. I think He knew what you were going to face as you continue to get older, and you got a family. First it was the cleft palate, and then everything, the botched the surgery and all that, and then you married Cal. Not that that's, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you had, that's not where I'm going if people think that, but you guys got
Yeah.
married and you had kids, and Caleb, your son, he was very, very sick to the point where you had to beg God to save him. And then, a few years ago, you had your mysterious illness where you didn't know what was wrong for many,
Yeah.
many months. And then most
Yeah.
recently, you blacked out, you had your bad fall, and once again, doctors had to figure out what was wrong. And then in the past 6 months, you've been by Cal's side with everything that's been going on with him.
Yeah.
That's a lot. The enemy's tried to
That's a
stop
lot.
you over the years. So
That's
just
a
break
lot.
it's so much. So break down those attacks for me. What were your emotions? How did you fight?
Well, with Caleb,
Mm,
Tara was born and she was like this perfect baby. Everything was just completely fine. And then 12 months and 10 days later, Caleb comes along,
mm,
and he was in the neonatal ICU
mm,
for 14 days.
mm,
And they said that he had low calcium in his spine,
mm,
and which I never heard of such a thing. Then the muscle in the top of his stomach was not working properly.
mm.
And then, he's getting a little older, but he's
Yeah,
not growing right. And he produced a lot of growth hormone, but it didn't have what was needed in it. It was like the doctor described it as it's just water. Like
yeah.
he's producing just water.
Mm,
And it's called cimetamine C.
mm,
And so he had to be placed on injections, daily injections. And so, we've been through a lot
yeah.
with him, and he's deaf in one ear. I think about all these crazy things with Caleb that a lot of people probably don't know.
Not know that.
He was born with 6 fingers on each hand. I know.
I don't know that either. Oh my goodness.
Yep. He had 6 fingers on each hand, and he still has webbed toes. His toes are webbed. And that was something that we thought, oh, he's already been through enough. Let's not
put him through that.
He's going to be a great swimmer, so let's just leave it at that, with the webbed toes. So,
the swim team.
I know. So we tease him all the time about it. But, been through a lot with him. But he's a nurse practitioner, and he's doing so well. I mean, married with 2 kids, and life is good for him.
Yes.
And then with me, I had a heart condition, and I didn't know it.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept complaining kind of to Cal that I was so tired. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of got tired of complaining all the time. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. And I thought, I'm sure he's getting sick of me saying that. I'm not going to say it anymore. And I'll never forget, it was Christmas time. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I feel like I can't put one foot in front of the other. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And then I kept telling myself, well, you're getting older. It's Christmas time. You're doing more things. And I passed out, and Cal took me to the hospital, and they diagnosed me with neurocardiogenic syncope. So, yeah, exactly. So they put a loop recorder in, which I still have, the loop recorder. And it tracks my, my heart rate. And when I call they call them episodes, mm-hmm. When I have episodes, it tracks that. Mm-hmm. And then just 2 years ago, I completely went out. I don't remember anything pretty much.
Yeah.
And ripped my septum, and about scared poor Cal to death.
Sure.
And they life flighted me to Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 brain bleeds and a concussion. They didn't know if that was what caused my fall, or if that was because of the fall. Well, in Columbus, they did find out that that was because of the fall. Mm-hmm. So, but anyways, they put me on a medication, and people all over the whole world have prayed for me. Mm-hmm. And it's very humbling, to think that people would take the time to pray for me. Mm-hmm. And they have. And I attribute how well I'm doing to the prayers mm-hmm. of so many people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's for sure. And you've really been through it. Like we said, it's a lot. But I know you, and I know you would say that the battles that you faced, the gifts from God have far outnumbered those battles. And so, thinking over the course of your life, what are some blessings from God that come to mind?
I think as I get older, hopefully you're wiser. Mm-hmm. I think as I get older, I look back over my life, mm-hmm. and I realize the true miracles that have taken place. What's the chances of 10 years going by from when I had my first plastic surgery at 14 months old?
Yeah.
To 10 years going by, and I go to the emergency room in the same city where I had that surgery, and they call the doctor's name over the loudspeaker. That's not a coincidence.
No, only God could orchestrate those details.
Exactly. Only God could orchestrate that. That's a beautiful way to say it. Only God could do that. And, had I not had the second surgery then, to where people could understand me, what would my life be like now? Mm-hmm. Would I have married Cal? I mean, would he have asked me? I don't No.
Yeah.
Would he have wanted to date me? I mean, he couldn't even understand probably what I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I definitely wouldn't have been singing in church.
Yeah.
And, I think back about those things now and I realize the realization of how miraculous it truly has been.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I it boggles my mind sometimes, and even my job
Mm-hmm.
that I have now, I work at the school,
Yeah.
and I answer the phone,
Mm-hmm.
and I direct people. People come in and they're not sure where to go,
Yeah.
and what classroom they need to be in and things like that, and I direct them. I would have never had that opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
you know, had God not put all these things in an order.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so blessed.
Yes, it's evident, and I think the thing that's most evident is that you haven't quit. You've kept going. You've kept climbing your mountain, and God's given you the strength to keep going, and that's why you are where you're at today. And I usually in my guest episodes with them kind of giving a call to action, giving people advice on how to make it to the top of their mountain. But I think the only fitting way to end your episode is with your battle cry. And I think you know what that is. So I'll just let you go to it.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm taking back everything that the devil stole from me. I'm taking back everything that the devil stole from me. I'm taking back my song and my dance, my joy and my peace. I'm taking back everything that the devil stole from me.
Well, Kandi, I think the only way to end this episode now is just to thank you for sharing your testimony and showing through that testimony and your song that when your strength comes from the right source, there's not a mountain you can't climb.